something that really amazes me about The Legend of Zelda is, honestly, really all of it. I'm very enormed with this franchise. Enormed, I don't know, I can't really talk that well. But yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. And something that's really interesting to me about it is out of literally every single, Zelda game, there's only really one mainline game that has ever gotten a T rating. That's Twilight Princess, by the way. And the only reason I'm pretty sure that game got that rating was just because, they wanted to, get into that angsty, emo kind of, market, that game was pretty much made for that market to kind of, save the franchise. I thought that's what everybody wanted. It was a big thing back then. But that's the only game that really gets the higher rating. And you might go, oh, well, if it definitely does. But, when you look at a game okay, let's just say Majora's Mask, for example, that is one of the most messed up video games. And not in a bad sense, but, this is a game that's meant for kids. The mailman is honestly disturbing, his side quest. And there's several other in the game. And even Breath of the Wild, when you think about it, yeah, it's a fun, lighthearted game, but, when you actually think about the context of Breath of the Wild, it's this really, the worst possible scenario. Everybody died, they failed, and you wake up 100 years later, almost all of your friends, pretty much all of your friends are dead, and you have to find a way to save the world within just a couple days, because, yeah, by the way, the world's still ending. Don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing the games for being too dark. I honestly think it's one of the best things about this franchise. And it's not overly dark. Like Breath of the Wild, you can go in and play this game, have a lighthearted time, and be fun. But when you actually think about what's going on in the games, Link, for example, he had to have a family. And 100 years later, they're all gonna be gone. It's depressing in that sense. But it's just who rates all of these games? I know there's a government organization, I'm not actually asking. Seriously, does Nintendo bribe them? Do they bribe them for, these E or E10 ratings? I don't know, seriously, what is this? Basically, who does this is the Entertainment Software Rating Board, or ESRB, as we all know them, and they're basically responsible for those little letters on the corner of the box that you always see. And basically, they came about, particularly around 1993. There was congressional hearings. I'm reading this all off of Wikipedia, by the way, if you're wondering why it sounds like I'm reading it off of Wikipedia. But due to games like Mortal Kombat, Night Trap, and Doom, because, those games are a little violent. So, obviously, they kind of created this, little ratings board or whatever, just to make sure, we're not getting any games like that shouldn't be played. Basically, video game companies, they just send them a little DVD and a questionnaire telling them what the game's about, what happens in the game, and that's basically how they come up with the rating. And it really makes you wonder, again, a game like Majora's Mask, it's an incredibly depressing game there, how... And again, the world is ending, the mailman is begging to flee, and that's just, one example. The game is very traumatic, so it makes you wonder, how is this rated E for everyone? Now, when the game did get remade for the 3DS, they did rate it E10. The reason why is because the ratings, obviously it didn't exist at that point in time, but still, it is a little weird, and I'm sure Nintendo does do a lot of things in there if they submit these questions and seminars. I'm sure they make a lot of tweaks and changes to get it in that rating, because, obviously, you are releasing this game on handheld, and you do want it to be popular, and, as a kid, growing up playing video games, I definitely played games that were rated T, everybody did, it's not that big a deal, but still, it is just kind of, weird to me, because, I didn't even think about this the other day until I was looking at Twilight Princess, and I noticed how the letter was different than the typical Zeldas, and it's just it's kind of weird. And again, I don't think any of this is really a bad thing. I just think it's kind of interesting. And yeah, this is my first attempt at trying to make more of YouTube videos. I did a few last year, but I wasn't really too happy with them. So let me know what you guys think, and also leave a comment on what you think the most traumatic moment from a Zelda game is. And yeah.